Hi. Welcome, everyone. I saw we had someone from Fayetteville as well.
So Morgan, I already shared with them about our calendar. So you can start if you want with a workshop.
Awesome. Thank you everyone so much for joining this evening. I know Noelia shared that you're being recorded. So if you feel comfortable with that, keeping your video on. And I'm just excited to meet everyone. My name is Morgan Ingenio, and I'm new to Heal the Planet, but I feel like I've been a part of it for a long time. All right, let me share the screen. We can get started. Ooh. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So in this series, you can attend one or all three. If you'd like to speak, feel free to jump in or ask questions, but then for the most part of it, I'd love if you just be able to keep yourself on mute. I know we have dogs, babies, all kinds of stuff in the background. It's a 3-part series. You can attend one or all three, whichever of the pieces speak to you. And what we're going to do today is just some basic introductions. What mindfulness is, the characteristics of it and the benefits, different kinds of breath work, a guided breathing exercise that will only be about 5 minutes, learning some more mindfulness exercises you can do outside of here, and then a guided slowing down exercise that takes about 3 minutes. After that, we'll just talk about ways you can stay in touch or get involved with Heal the Planet. A little bit about Heal the Planet for those of you who don't already know. Our vision is to be a more conscious and loving planet where collectively we make choices that are in alignment with our health and well-being of our planet and all its inhabitants. Mindfulness really plays into this because of our day-to-day choices. Taking that pause and being present in the moment and whatever it is we're doing. So what is mindfulness? It is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. It differs from meditation, and meditation is more about clearing or controlling the mind, while mindfulness is gentle or an intentional awareness of our thoughts, our emotions, and what's going on right then. I do use a lot of pictures of people meditating though, because it's hard to photograph mindfulness. So some characteristics, just being aware of what the present moment offers. It's an intentional awareness, the intention to cultivate that awareness, attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and sensations. It's non-judgmental, curious, and kind. Just like a muscle, right? The more you work it, the better you will become at it. And anyone can do it, anywhere, anytime. Mindfulness is not about controlling your thoughts, but rather stopping them from controlling you. We don't just walk into a room and feel simply happy, sad, or mad. Our experiences that we had, our thoughts, the feelings about that room are what provoke the feeling. So if we love the color blue and we walk into an all blue room, we may feel happy and joyful. When we practice mindfulness, we learn what those signals are, and we can become more aware and tuned into ourselves. Some of the many benefits of mindfulness: increased self-awareness and emotional regulation, social skills, being able to read those around you, flexibility, empathy, concentration, mental clarity and cognition, relationship satisfaction, mood, sleep, motivation, and immunity. Also decrease stress, anxiety, depression, frustration, all of those feelings that really none of us want to feel, but sometimes come up. Miscommunication or incongruent reactions. If we're unaware of how we're feeling throughout the day, we may respond a little bit different than we would like to. Anyone experienced that before? An overreaction because we haven't checked in with our own emotions? So for those of you who love stats and research, I have a couple slides on that. Americans, or people in the US right now, practice mindfulness on a weekly basis about 40% of the time. Buddhists practice 80% of the time on a daily basis. And this stat continues to grow. In 2012, it was only about 14% in the US. And then in 2017, it grew by 20%. So this continues to grow. The more we learn about it, the more we share it with other people and get to practice. People with anxiety or symptoms of anxiety have shown a 60% improvement through mindfulness and 75% improvement with insomnia through meditating and mindfulness. We all need sleep. So starting off with our breath, this is just one of the basic skills. We breathe all the time, nonstop, and we don't even notice it. There are a couple ways you can control your breath, and we'll practice those and then dive into a guided breathing exercise. When we do our guided breathing exercise, I encourage you to just focus on your natural breath. But if you struggle or have a hard time with that, you can dive into these. One breath is a 3-2-4. So it is an exaggerated inhale for 3 seconds, holding it for 2, and then an exhale out your mouth for 4. If you guys want to try that with me. I like to keep my hand on my heart. You can do that, or your belly, and feel your breath. So 3, inhale, 1, 2, 3, hold for 2, and exhale, 4. You can try that again without me counting. 3, hold, and exhale. This is just a simple way to slow your breath down. No one needs to know that you're being mindful or engaging in this exercise. You can do it anywhere, which I love. Another breath we call a square breath. So you'll inhale for 4, hold at the top for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold at the bottom. It's a much more controlled breath, but it really does slow everything down. So we'll inhale for 4, hold, exhale, hold. Is anyone feeling just a little bit calmer? Good. I see some head shaking. So we are going to practice a guided breathing meditation. This is going to take a brief 5 minutes. All you need is your body, a comfortable seat, and hopefully a quiet space or moderately quiet. I like to always check in with myself before I start exercise to see how I'm feeling, how my heart rate is. Am I thinking about something else? Maybe what your anxiety level is at, or how fast your breathing is. We cultivate mindfulness through meditation of breathing. Focusing on our breath helps us manage stress, anxiety, and it sharpens our ability to concentrate. So during this 5-minute exercise, we're simply going to focus on our breath without trying to adjust it. You can focus on the rise and fall of your chest or the sensation out of your nostrils. If you find your mind wandering, it's okay. Just gently guide it back to your breath. So if everyone would like to find a relaxed, comfortable position, try and keep your back up straight, but gently, not tight. Your hands resting wherever feels comfortable. Becoming connected to the chair, the floor, your seat. Gently closing your eyes or softly just letting them open a bit and looking down. Notice and relax your body. Try to notice the shape of your body, its weight. Let yourself relax and become curious about your body seated here. The sensations, its experiences, the touch, the connection with the floor or the chair. Relax any areas of tightness or tension. Just breathe. Tune into your breath. Feel the natural flow of breath. In, out. You don't need to do anything to your breath. Not long, not short, just natural. Notice where you feel your breath in your body. It might be in your abdomen. It may be in your chest or throat or your nostrils. See if you can feel the sensations of breath. One breath at a time. When one breath ends, the next breath begins. Be kind to your wandering mind. Now, as you do this, you might notice that your mind may start to wander. You may start thinking about other things. If this happens, it is not a problem. It's very natural. Just notice your mind has wandered You can say thinking or wandering in your head softly, and then gently redirect your attention right back to breathing. Stay here just a minute. Notice your breath in silence. From time to time, you'll get lost in thought, then just return to your breath. If you have your eyes closed, you can gently open them. This is a practice you can do every day, starting slow, maybe at a minute or two, and then building up to that longer time. So how's everyone feeling? Good. Did anyone notice your mind wandering? Yeah. How easy was it to refocus? I see someone else jumping in too.
My son accompanied me.
Oh,
I have to, or when I go back to the breath, it helps.
yeah. It's okay to let it wander, and how we talk to ourselves when we guide ourselves back to our breath is really important. Like, instead of saying things like, oh, suck, you thought of this again, we just say, oh, it's okay, no big deal, I'll come back to it as many times as we need to. I notice for myself, I always really sink deeper into my seat. Like, everything feels heavier, and that is so relaxing. Sometimes we notice in our body as well. Maybe if we felt tension somewhere, and we can breathe into that space. So there are 5 mindfulness exercises you can do anywhere. Some of these we'll talk about today, and other ones we'll learn in the parts 2 or 3 of the series, because they're a little bit more advanced or lengthy, I would say. We don't have too much time, just an hour, but body scans, mindful seeing, mindful listening, mindful breathing, and the 5 senses. We just engaged in that mindful breathing. All it took was 3 minutes to pause and focus on our own breath. With the senses, often we tune out some of our senses, or we're not focusing fully on everything. We're on that autopilot. So these mindfulness exercises really help us to tune back in. How often can you engage in these exercises? As often as you'd like. A lot of the research backs that at least 15 minutes a day really can reduce anxiety and improve sleep. But start small. I know for myself, I am a morning person. So in the mornings when I wake up, I only engage in like a 2-3 minute practice. And then I'm like excited to get up and go to yoga and do something else. But when the day is ending and in the evening, that's when I try to practice a bit longer, because that just flows for my schedule. You can do it in private or in public. When I was first being trained in mindfulness, or how to train this, And now it was like more than a decade ago. So I wanted to say a few years ago, but a long time ago. One of our homework assignments was to make sure at every red light when we're driving, we don't pick up our phone. We just leave it there. We don't do anything else. And I'm like, oh, I'm great at this. I never am on my phone when I'm driving. Turns out I was doing a million things. Every time I hit a red light, I was looking at my schedule. I was searching in my purse for chapstick. I was maybe tapping my phone to see what time it was, how far I was away from where I needed to be. So just practicing at red lights, stopping and being present or breathing really changed how my day flowed. The 5 senses exercise is a quick skill that you can practice in pretty much any situation. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So 5, noticing 5 things that you can see. Looking around and really noticing it. Things that you don't normally look at. I have this picture in front of me and it's on a canvas. It's in glass, but you can still see the texture of the canvas, the little divots, the different colors in the printing. So when I focus my attention on that, I want to really look at it in a way I haven't looked at it before. Noticing 4 things that you can feel, whether it's the seat below you, maybe you need a little more cushion, or your own hands, the air, your desk, something. Noticing 3 things that you can hear. A buzzing, the outside, cars driving by, some electronic making some noise. Two things that you can smell, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. Doing this outside is great. You can do it with food. I love doing this with oils or lotions. In the shower, so often we're doing things and we're not smelling our really nice body wash or soap that we picked out. We're just going through the motions. So taking the time to slow down and smell. We all have hand sanitizer on us, right? So hand sanitizer works. And if you practice it with it, you'll notice that when you first squirt it out and smell it versus when you rub it into your hands, you're getting 2 totally different smells. And the sensation, that cold feeling, just by being mindful of it. And then noticing 1 thing that you can taste, taking a drink of something or just your mouth itself. Hopefully you brush your teeth and you're tasting something good. So these 5 senses are great for grounding. If you're ever in a situation where you feel anxious or maybe frustrated from things that happened in that day, you can use 1 or all of these. There are different types of mindfulness, finding what works best for you. Focused attention, like using those 5 senses or focusing on your breath, a body scan, a positive reflection, yoga. We have a 3-step mindfulness practice, turning off autopilot. How many times have we driven somewhere without really paying attention and we're like, I know how to get here. I've done it so many times, but how did I actually get here? They could have probably changed all the signs and you would have ended up in that same exact spot. So turning off autopilot is just taking a pause, noticing your posture, your thoughts, your feelings, and allowing them to pass and being aware of that present moment. Awareness to your breath and your body. I definitely practice this during the day, being on Zoom or sitting at a desk. I realize that throughout the day, I'm raising my shoulders up. So when I take a second and I focus on my breath and my body, I can relax and realize where I'm holding tension or how fast my breath is. Outward awareness, bring the awareness to your body or outside of yourself. If you have that AC blowing on you, what that feels like, or the environment around you. Mindful eating. I love this exercise. I wish I could give you guys all cookies and we would do this together, but it is slowing down, checking in with your hunger and fullness levels before you eat, and then really tasting and enjoying every bite. The first time I did mindful eating with an Oreo, it was way back in the day. I was like, I love Oreos, they're vegan, why not? I thought I could get down with an Oreo, that I like these. And so often before that, I would have them as a random snack. So I sit there and in my mindful eating, I pay attention to it. I smell it. I'm looking at the texture, the colors. It feels a little grainy, and I take a bite and I'm like, whoa, I hate Oreos. One bite in, I realized it was disgusting and it was really like grainy, but I had eaten them so many times before and never noticed it. Same thing goes though, if you enjoy a food. When I practice mindful eating, my food lasts a bit longer, and every bite you're making that like perfect bite, putting all the good stuff on it and just enjoying it. Some more types of mindfulness exercises you can practice outside of here. Guided meditations or practices, what we just did. There are so many options out there. Videos, free resources, YouTube, whether you have 3 minutes or an hour. Visualizations. Finding a happy place, a soothing place. There's one visualization I feel like I teach more often than others. It's visualizing yourself on an island, and your island is calm. And the person that is upsetting you, you can see them from afar, and they're on their own island, and you can see the storm around them. And you can add all the details you'd like, but your island stays calm and the water around it stays calm. You can smell the ocean. When you're doing this and practicing it, it's funny, you can actually get those sensations like, oh yeah, I can feel the sun on my skin, and it calms you down, even if that person or the situation remains on their stormy island. A mantra or an affirmation. So often we forget that we're with ourselves all of the time and how we speak to ourselves. So speaking kind words is really important. I had learned that if you grew up in the perfect, no such thing as perfect, but cookie cutter home, by the time you reached adulthood, 70% of your thoughts and self-talk would be negative. So it really is a practice and work to give yourself love and those positive statements or positive affirmations. Here are a lot of mantras. You can take what you need. You can screenshot it, take a picture. When it comes to picking a mantra, there's no right or wrong thing. It might be a compliment that someone gives you, and rather than dismissing that compliment, taking it or restating it to yourself. It could be what you need, what you're struggling with that day, or allowing yourself to be done for the day. Like, everything I did was enough. Tomorrow is still going to be there for me. Or if you're, running a marathon, telling yourself, I'm strong, I am unstoppable, I can do anything for this many minutes. A huge part of mindfulness is slowing down. How can we focus on the present moment if we're going a million miles an hour or doing multiple things at once? So our intention is to cultivate gentleness and self-compassion. We are going to practice a 3-minute slowing down mindfulness exercise. And then we will finish up with hearing thoughts from you and ways to stay connected to heal the planet. So if you want to take a comfortable seat, check in with yourself and how you're feeling. During this guided slowing down mindfulness exercise, we're going to focus on slowing down our activities. Allow yourself to get comfortable. You are seated. Your body is relaxed. Eyes closed or gently open. Remembering our intention to cultivate a sense of gentleness and self-compassion. Really bring that in. When comfortable, begin to feel your breath. Feel with as much of your body as possible what your breath feels like today. Slowing down. It is important to practice in stillness and in silence. Remember our goal in practicing mindfulness, teaching ourselves to be present through the demands, the activities of our daily lives. The slowing down motion is a beginning practice that leads us eventually to mindfulness. As we sit, answer a phone, open the refrigerator, close a door, or brush our teeth, whatever that activity may be, we can choose to do it mindfully, almost in slow motion. Breathing in and breathing out. I encourage you to choose an activity, something you do numerous times throughout the day. Whether it's opening a laptop or door, do it mindfully, slowly, noticing what that activity feels like as you do it, what it feels like in your hands while you're doing it. Do you hold your breath? Are you relaxed? Try it in slow motion and notice. Be curious. Now take a moment to choose an activity to try throughout your day, to be mindful. Challenge yourself as you breathe in and out. Once you have chosen an activity, slowly bring your awareness back. Gently opening your eyes and returning to this space. Was everyone able to choose an activity? Did one pop into their mind? It's nice to kind of know yourself, those times where you're on autopilot. I like to pick things around that time to slow myself down. And it's like that ball in motion, right? So if there's a time of the day that's a little more chaotic, if you take an activity around, then you can slow your ball down and continue on throughout the day. I would love to hear more from you about your thoughts and how you experience this, whether thought or body.
I love, thank you very much, Morgan.
Well, thank you for speaking. I know it can be nervous or,
No, not really. I'm good. But I love the analogy of the person on another island and your island is calm. And I also love the example of like showering, because to me, I'm always jumping in the shower, rushing, to get, it's like I just need to get it done as fast as I can so I can get moving. And I don't think I'm mindful or conscious at all in the shower. And I use like Dr. Bonner's soap, which smells really good. And I don't even smell it most days. So I think that's I'm going to enjoy that one.
Yeah, I'm glad. Noelle, yeah.
Yeah, looking at remembering what you mentioned, that this will increase mental clarity and emotional intelligence. Like, what would you, in your experience with the people you've seen, what would be the number one thing that people experience about emotional intelligence? So,
in my experience, I've found even adults really struggle to label or verbalize their feelings. And how can you verbalize something if you don't know how you're experiencing it or what it feels like, what triggers it? So the more we check in, we can identify like, oh, I'm feeling this in my stomach. That's not anger or sadness. This is more nervousness or fear. And the more we check in with ourselves and check into our surroundings, the more we heighten our emotional intelligence and how to express those emotions to other people without just reacting. I hope that answered.
yes, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
The question that I have is the slowing down. Will that help? It's like every time I like be in my office or something, and then I know if I'm going to go into a certain room where there's a person in there that I don't particularly get along with very well, before I even walk out the door, I feel, I start not feeling very good about the fact that I have to go into that room. If I try to slowing down practice, is that something that might help with that? Something that'll calm me and get me in the right emotion, the right mindset before I even go into the room?
I would definitely encourage that you try it. It's what works best for you. So if you know that this particular person or this room you're entering is difficult, prior to going in, listening to what you're saying to yourself, feeling how your breath is, how your emotions are, and maybe engaging in a positive affirmation, something that's slowing down how your clothes feel, hopefully soft, how your lotion smells or tea, coffee, just taking that pause and seeing if that helps when you enter. You're kind of like setting up the defense. You can't change the other person in the room, but you can change how you feel and how you respond to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 more parts in this series. The second part is going to be a lot about connecting to our bodies, body scans, progressive muscle relaxations. Those are my jam. I love practicing these because it's a way to slow everything down. And we're using our mind to slow those things down, so the thoughts don't jump in as frequently. And then in our third part, we'll be working on some integration, how to use these practices in everyday life and emotional regulation. So what you were just sharing, how do we control our own emotions when we know what's going to happen, or we feel like we know what's going to happen?
I think Elizabeth had a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question. That when you're breathing in and out, does it matter if you're breathing in your nose and out through your mouth, or what about if you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose? Does that matter?
It doesn't matter. When you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, you're warming the inside of your body. And when you're breathing in through your nose and out of your mouth, you're cooling down a bit. But your breath is just telling your body it's okay. Everything is okay. So however you choose to breathe is perfectly okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did anyone else have a question or? No. We'd
I-
love, oh yeah.
Sorry, I do
you-
actually.
Are you ending, Morgan?
Well, we were going to talk a bit about some more opportunities and volunteering, getting involved, and we are a not-for-profit. So if you're called to make a donation, I believe I made this link clickable, but you can go to healtheplanet.com. Did you want to?
Sorry, Morgan, I was thinking, when you talked about mantras, does it matter if we say them out loud or in our heads? Is there a more effective way?
I don't know if there's a more effective way. I tend to say them to myself. And when I say them, I truly listen to it. And I found myself before saying the same one over and over on repeat. And I'm like, oh, I just was talking to myself for a couple minutes, but I guess I needed that. And when other people give us a compliment, like, I love how engaged you were. I was able to see your eyes throughout the whole time and the focus, rather than thinking of our response, just taking that in and saying it to yourself. So it can come either way.
Is it okay to share something, Morgan?
Yes.
So the gentleman, I don't know your name, that asked that question earlier, I had a thought that came forward for your consideration. What Morgan, shared is excellent, the mindfulness piece. One of the things I've experienced is something called seeing the loving essence, which is seeing the loving essence in myself and others, knowing that everybody's doing the best they can. And if I'm fearful of, like, walking into someone's office or any kind of situation, and I'm having thoughts, like basically negative thoughts, like Morgan was talking about, negative self-talk. So I'm basically setting myself up for that situation to manifest again. And instead, I could choose to set an intention that when I go into that room, I'm just going to be in my loving essence and know that I'm speaking to another loving person who's doing the best they can. And anyway, I find that very helpful. I don't know if that resonates with you or not, but it's something maybe worthwhile trying besides the mindfulness piece.
Yeah, I love that. I think it ties in beautifully to mindfulness, because we're trying to cultivate that compassion and being present in the moment. And what you're saying, being in your loving self. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah. I mean, basically, how I see things is every choice I make either comes from one of two places, and they're love or fear. So if I'm in a fearful mindset, or, then it's going to come forward from that part of me. And if I'm in a loving state, then that's what's going to come forward. So anyway, I'm telling it to myself as I'm sharing it with you, because I need to practice it myself more as well.
I often do that as well. Like at the start of this, I was excited, and excitement is, I'm like, oh, I should
Nervous.
check my breath too. Maybe slow it
Mhm.
down a second. Um,
Yeah.
So you can practice these skills anytime. I would absolutely love to see each of your faces again, or tell your friends, and we can grow our group. Thank you again for joining today and just being present and sharing.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you,
Thank
Morgan.
you.
Thanks.
I'll stay on for a little if you guys have any questions about how to get involved or some events we have coming up. Otherwise, have a beautiful night.
Thank you, Morgan.
Good night.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Right, we'll see you the 21st, right?